Hey, welcome to By Grace Through Faith. I'm your host, Bree. We just finished in Acts, and before we jumped into our next chapters, I wanted to do an introduction on the epistles. We've gone through Mark, and then I've encouraged you to go through the rest of the Gospels, as well as Acts. But now we're jumping into the rest of the New Testament, and these are different than what the books that we've already been through. They're known as epistles. And what's really important is knowing how to read them, because they make up 21 of the 27 books in the New Testament, and they have a variety of different authors like Paul, Peter, James, and Jude, people that we've read about in the Gospels and in Acts. They make up from the book of Romans to the book of Hebrews. So what exactly are epistles? They're letters. They're letters written by the disciples to a specific church, to a specific audience. Now, most of these letters, they have three parts. Like a normal letter, they have an opening, a body, and a closing. In the opening, it has normally about 4 different elements. It has who is writing it, the recipients, and he's doing more than likely a salutation, such as grace and peace upon you, and then a prayer, and normally a prayer of thanksgiving. Now the body, it normally doesn't follow any specific pattern, and even the body depends on who's writing it. Like Paul is very streamlined, while other letters focus on a specific theme, maybe work in a circular pattern, or a style that's reminiscent of some other books before. And then the closing of the letters also varies. Paul normally talks about where he's going next, what he's doing next, a prayer request, or a number of other different things. It very much looks like somebody wrote a letter. He has a very distinct style. All of the authors have a very distinct style. So the epistles, they are different because they are not narrative. Everything that we've gone through so far is very much this person was at this place doing this thing, witnessed this miracle. Narrative. We're going through a timeline. Whereas these letters, they're written on the other side of the cross, the other side of Pentecost, during these missions, during the spreading of the gospel. These books, they play a major role in the formation of doctrine and Christian theology, rather than a play-by-play of what is happening in the church at that time. Some of the major themes that the epistles are following is 1, Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of God's promises in redemptive history. He is Messiah, he's Lord, he's the Son of God, and he's the true revelation of God. Secondly, the new life of believers is a gift from God, anchored in the cross and empowered by the Holy Spirit, something that's the very foundation of this ministry here. Third, Christians experience salvation by faith, and faith expresses itself in a transformed life. The epistles spend considerable space elaborating on believers' newness of life. Fourth, believers belong to restored Israel, the Church of Jesus Christ, which must live out her calling as God's people in a sinful world. 5, in this present evil age, believers suffer affliction and persecution, but they look forward with joy to the coming of Jesus Christ and the consummation of their salvation. And then lastly, false teachers dangerously subvert the true gospel of Christ. So that's mainly what the epistles cover. However, every book or every letter, depending on how you look at it, is to a specific audience for a specific reason. For example, the last point that we made was about false teaching. We can see that clearly in reading Galatians, 2 Peter, and Jude, that those letters were written because they were having that experience. While Paul, when he wrote 1st and 2nd Corinthians, those 2 letters, we can realize that Paul wrote in response to a various number of problems that the church was experiencing. The letters are crafted to speak to the reader as they face everyday life, especially whatever they are facing in that particular area. So that's also something to keep in mind as we're reading them. The audience, who's writing it, what they're facing, all of that matters. Of course, it's applicable to us, but having additional context will help us in understand these writings as well. Now, obviously, we face a bit of a disadvantage because we don't know the exact details of everything. However, the theology and the foundation that we get from it, it still stands because it's nothing new under the sun. It's something that I'm sure that our church could be facing today and probably is facing today. So it just gives us some context on how to handle certain situations in this life. So that's what we're going to jump into next. It's going to be a little different from what we've gone in before, so I just wanted to give some context. So I hope to see you next time as we go ahead and get the epistle started. Take care. Bye.